The rise of American air power is a story of human courage and technological innovation. There's no better place to experience that drama than right here, at the National Museum of the United States Air Force. This is the world's largest military aviation museum. How big is it? We're talking more than 300 aircraft and 17 acres of indoor exhibit space. In other words, we'd better get started.
The mission of the National Museum of the United States Air Force is to tell the history and story of the United States Air Force. For visitors, you're in for a surprise. When you get here, parking's free, admission's free. It's your museum. You've already paid for it. We are just the caretakers, and we are the keepers of the stories of the people who built the United States Air Force. We use theatrical lighting. Our sign texts are designed to tell more than just what the airplane is. We use very, very well-produced mannequins to tell the story where it's lifelike, and you get that instant in time that you can, just for a second, imagine you're there. And that's the best thing about going to a museum.
Every exhibit is extensively researched to ensure historical accuracy.
We'll do the reading, we'll pull the original documents, we'll pull the original photographs, we'll do the measurements, we'll find color schemes, we'll go back and find actual paint chips off of aircraft and match it up so we get the exact paint scheme and color. Every once in a while, as I go through the galleries of the National Museum of the United States Air Force, you can see somebody walking along and something catches their eye. It may be something that I have never noticed before, and it catches their eye, and they'll stop on a dime and turn and go toward it. They see something that has just touched their imagination, and they simply cannot walk away. Simply can't walk away. As the greatest generation starts to leave us in ever-increasing numbers, we understand the importance of telling their story.
Silent now, these planes once roared through the skies and changed the destinies of nations. These are the stories the museum preserves. Stories like those told by Robert Billet, World War II fighter pilot. A resident of Centerville, Ohio, Bob Billet prowled the skies over Europe in a plane called the P-47 Thunderbolt.
Well, it was a fabulous airplane. It was originally designed as a high-altitude fighter, and it was made by Republic in Farmingdale, Long Island. They made more P-47s than any other fighter during the war. We did ground support of our troops. First, we would dive bomb. And then we'd go down on the deck and strafe anything that moved that we could see. 47 had more firepower. It had 8 machine guns, 4 in each wing. But this biggest attribute, it could take a tremendous amount of punishment. It was so much heavier than any other fighter we had. You felt you really had an airplane under the seat of your pants.
Despite the dangers, many pilots like Bob Billet looked at aerial combat as simply doing what they'd been trained to do.
It was an everyday job. First you went to a briefing. They told you what you were going to do, where you were going to go, what you were going to dive bomb, what your target was. You'd go off and do what you're supposed to do, and like your everyday job, and hope you came back. But you didn't dwell on, well, this may be my last day of being around, but you never thought of. I didn't, at least I didn't.
Some missions were almost routine. Others were unforgettable.
The one mission that was very much in my mind was when we had dive bombed a rail yard, and we're on our way home and saw a locomotive chugging down the tracks with flat cars with tanks on it. And so we peeled off, and we were coming about 50 feet off the ground, just a treetop level, firing our 850s, and just as we got to the train, it blew up. It was full of munitions. Blew up and blew me upside down, and my wingman, who flew 6 feet off the end of his wing. We both recovered, and we got him back to the base, and he crash landed the airplane. It was a brand new airplane, first mission had been on. It was the CO's airplane. That was the funny part about it. And he of course, he had to come in at tremendously high speed to keep from stalling out. He touched down at the far end of the runway, went right through fences, trees, all sorts of things, and stopped in the field. And as we flew, we were flying over watching him, and he got out and waved his hand that he was okay.
Bob Billet did not see his first jet airplane at an airport or an air show. He saw it over the skies of Europe, and it was not a pleasant encounter.
The first time I'd ever seen a jet in my life, and it was through a gun sight. And when we were escorting B-26s, we were on our way home, and 4 Me-262s, that's the German jet, jumped the 26s, and we were flying top cover for them, and we went down through the formation to try to get at the Me-262s, and I saw out of the corner of my eye the 2 or 3 of the B-26s just blow up right there in front of it. And I had a Me-262 in my gun sight, and I was doing 500, and he saw me coming, and puff, and he was gone. They were 100 miles an hour faster than we were.
Then on May 8th, 1945, the war in Europe was over.
I was in Nancy, France at the time on rest leave, and that was all hell broke loose that night. And every Frenchman and every French girl and man and woman and child were out in the streets really living it up. And we were living it up with them.
The National Museum of the United States Air Force provides a service not only for those who have gone before, not only for those who fought and died for the Republic, for the nation. It serves a purpose for those who will serve the Republic and the nation in the future, as we tell the story of how our ancestors protected us. We're laying the foundation for those who will protect us in the future. And I see something every time I walk in the museum I've either never seen before or I've never heard of before, which just fires up my interest, and I have to go home and read about it. And that's what we hope visitors do too.
People from all over the country and the world come here, and the people that do, they say, boy, Dayton, you really got a museum there. It's really something.
From the first plane built for the military by the Wright brothers to the latest in aviation technology, the museum is packed with incredible stories that you'll remember long after you leave.